the mobility of our bodies. And this week I wanted to perhaps maybe try and not overthink things too much. Our 5th week is going to be a bit more exploratory, maybe some more combinations of moves as we flow from one to another. So I won't take too long with our setup. We've got lots to get through. And just go with the feeling. Don't worry about too much about the breath, but just think of those principles of the core being strong all the time, the powerhouse that we've worked on, drawing into your center, supporting the spine, pelvic floor area as well, if you can. So just a quick setup for us this morning. Feet in our parallel position, hands down by your sides. As you just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice, easy work. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, well done. So we're just in our setup. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good morning. Okay, so good morning. Just a gentle setup, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we know what we're trying to do here. We're looking to try to think of our lovely positions. And we're growing through the spine, lifting and inhaling through the nose. As we exhale, of course, we're starting to draw in through the core. Okay, finding those deep trunk muscles, those transverse abdominal muscles, your obliques on the surface, etc. So thinking of that lovely setup, breathing in through the nose, exhaling, drawing in through the tummy to spine and up through the pelvic floor area. Okay, one more time as you breathe in, grow nice and tall through the spine, find that lift, find the expansion through this upper rib cage area and exhale, drawing through the belly, excuse me, and exhale, drawing up through the pelvic floor. Open your eyes and bring yourselves back into the room. So just a really quick one, we've got lots to go through. So stepping towards the end of the mat, we're going to warm up a bit more with a moving mobilizer. So starting off with our roll down, grow nice and tall through the crown of the head, tuck away that chin to the chest space, bringing the belly to spine. Start to peel that chin down through the chest space and across the sternum or chest plate, rolling down with the knees straight or bent to begin with, doesn't matter too much. Okay, and then peel yourself back up into standing. We're going to flow quite speedily through this. So grow nice and tall, breathe in and second roll down. Knees again bent or straight depending on what you want to do, but we are going to head towards the floor. So if you do need to bend your knees, and go ahead now and pop those fingertips on the floor, walking them forwards now towards the front edge of the mat. We're going to end up in our plank position. So just hang out there for a moment. Just make sure you're nice and tidy, full length of the spine from crown to tail, and heels slightly pushing towards the back edge of that room. Now soften the knees towards the floor slightly and lift your feet so that your toenails are down on the mat. Now we're going to lift our eyes and our gaze comes forwards, as does our heart space and chest, slightly pushing forward through those tops of your arms for a little bit of back extension, and lift all the way from the kneecaps through the front of your body, including right up to that throat space. Now you're going to tuck your toes under as your gaze comes back down towards the mat, and we're going to take our knees off the mat if you can, and we're walking our hands back towards those feet. If you want to bend your knees, go ahead. If you can have those legs straight, then go for it, and then peel back up. We're going to do that one more time. So breathing in, grow nice and tall. Actively finding the length in the spine, then tucking that belly space almost in and up and away into that rib cage area as you roll down. Number 2, hands towards the floor, knees straight or bent, and forwards into your plank. Feel the stretch all these limbs as you come into your plank position. Shoulder blades back and down, belly up. Soften the knees towards the mat, and then the toenails down as well. Letting your gaze lift, letting your chest come forward into a small bit of back extension, but modify if you need to by not heading too deep into that. Lifting your bottom back up as your head comes down and look towards your fingertips. Just walk your hands in maybe one hand span or hand length back towards your knees for me if you can. Alrighty, and then I'd like you to tuck those toes back in and under again. So those toes are curled under, belly's in tight, and if you can, I would like you to hover both knees off the mat. So with a breath in, exhale, lifting both knees off the mat. Without hanging out here too long, I'd like you now to just bring your bottom backwards towards your heels. So you're pressing into the heels of the hands, and your arms start to lengthen and lower like a kind of hovering child's pose. Just go and bounce here for a couple of bounces for me, please, and then draw yourself back into your 4-point kneeling. If this is too much, you can lower your knees towards the floor and do this with the knees on the mat, okay? Just releasing your bottom towards your heels, actively bouncing your bottom towards the heels, and then back up into 4-point kneeling where your head just kind of stops just in front of the fingertips. We've got 2 more. Back with the bottom towards the heels, get a bounciness, that spring into that lovely crouch pause, crouch position. And one more time, press into the heels of the hands, put a stretch into that lumbar spine, up into your 4-point kneeling, knees up or down if you wish, and then soften off those knees for a second into child's pose. So the knees come down to the floor, flatten off your feet, toenails down, and push into child's pose wherever is comfortable for you, okay? Just breathe into your lovely back space for 2 breaths. As I said at the outset, we're going to keep a pace going on here. So 1 more breath in. And ready to tuck your toes under, and you're lifting now into a downward dog, or V stretch as we call it in Pilates, so gently lifting your bottom towards the ceiling. And we often finish this way. We're just going to start this way, turn it on its head, and you're into V stretch. Your head just reaching between the arms if you can, as opposed to looking towards your fingertips, looking towards the toes a little bit for me here. Soften the knees if you wish, okay? Don't push too much into the back of the legs at this point if it's feeling a bit tight. You can soften those knees. And then I want everyone to just widen their feet to just on the inside edge of your mat, okay? So you broaden that stance. I'd like you now to think about bringing in the belly button, and we're going to press into your left hand, lift your right hand and reach towards your left knee, shin or ankle, and then place the hand back down. We're going to switch left to right. So now the other side, your left hand reaches to the right knee, ankle or shin. If you can straighten those legs and heels down, and you can go ahead and even reach towards that ankle for progression, you can actually look underneath your armpit and you get a bit more of a deeper thread the needle as you head towards the side. Okay, and switch. Okay, for those who feel like it's a little bit too much, you can bring that head slightly forward and just reach towards the knees, like a kind of lifted 4-point kneeling. And our last time, reach, stretch, hold. And then we're going to pause here, guys. Soften the knees if you need to, because you're walking those hands back towards the toes, and we're rolling up, okay? So just rolling now up into standing with those legs nice and broad, keep us nice and stable, up into standing, step back into the middle of your mat, and feet in parallel, okay? So that should have got everything a little bit warmed up. Bring those heels together for me and zip right through those middle of your legs, the heels together, knees squishing together, and thighs are squishing as well. Feel the lift underneath the bottom cheeks as well, so you're nice and secure under there. Okay, so arms down by your side, find that postural checkup, perfectly stacked. And on our next exhale, we're going to lift with the heels glued together onto your toes. Okay, and release back down. So it might not be very far. Your modification is maybe just to do a tiny lift. You may struggle to get those heels to stay together, in which case if they do part slightly, that's fine. But we're just trying to remind ourselves of our balance, and we're trying to remind ourselves of our center as we lift through the crown of the head, as opposed to projecting yourself forwards towards me as you lift. Think you're sliding or itching up and down a wall behind you, and you're just having a lovely little lift and lower. Well done. On the next lift, we're going to see if we can pause and hold. So breathe in, exhale, lift and pause and hold. Okay, if this is troublesome for you, go ahead and pop the feet back down, because we're actually going to double arm float. So take a breath in, exhale, find your center, looking away perhaps to one little spot somewhere to focus. And then we turn our palms towards the front, and we're going to imagine ourselves diving over now into a roll down. So breathe in, trying to stay high if you can. You need quite a lot of center control. Those legs trying to pull together if you can. Rolling down, heels stay up as long as you possibly can. And as you come into your final roll down, let the heels press down, almost like they're pressing into the floor, and really getting that stretch away from your glutes and your tailbone. Tuck your chin into your chest and roll back up. We're going to try and do that one more time. I know you know what's coming. So when you're ready, breathing in, regroup, exhale, and lift up into your heel raise, double heel raise, gluing those legs together like fury buttocks stuck under, and lift into your double arm float. Heels can come down if you wish, guys, of course. Turn the palms towards me in readiness for our dive forward. Breathe in, dive up and over, pulling right in through the midline of those legs. Really find those muscles under the pelvic floor area, pelvis, and down towards the floor as you come to the floor, letting the heels rest down to the floor as if they're stretching that extra millimeter deeply away from the lower spine and pelvis, and then roll yourself back up, chin coming up and into your chest base. looking towards the horizon. Last, well done. Okay, go ahead and take those legs slightly wider for our plie position. So this is really a little bit wider than perhaps you would feel comfortable standing. Okay, so you feel a little bit wider with that stance. Again, remembering your back against a wall behind you, guys. I just want you to just sink down as if you're sliding down the wall behind you, or a bear's having a lovely itch down the tree down behind you. Don't let any bit get neglected, sliding down. And to do this, perhaps you might need to slightly tuck the tailbone under, so we haven't got that little ducky tail sticking out. You're thinking of sliding down the tree, keeping that posture nice and tall. Collarbones are open. Okay. Alrighty, on this next time we're down, we're going to pause down here. Make sure you feel like your little toes are just pressing into the floor, okay? So you've got that connection on the outside of your toes. Pop your hands down by your sides for a second, and we're going to just go ahead and press onto the left knee and extend and straighten the right leg, okay? So it's a small shifty over towards the left. Keeping low with your head, okay? So then we're going to stay low, so you're in your squat in between, and then head over towards the right. Left leg extends. Okay, body nice and center. We're not doing any leans at the moment, keeping facing forwards, over towards the right. Just exploring this knee joint a little bit for us, okay? Where's the back space gone? Are you still feeling like you're connected against the wall behind you? Collarbone is open, shoulder blades down. Pausing towards the left. Let's pause here. Pop your left hand onto that right thigh. Lift your right arm up and over. And let's just finish that reach with a lovely arc. Over, 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 reaching. Breathe into this space for me. Now you're trying to span these ribs on the right hand side for 2 breaths. And as you exhale this next time, bring yourself back up. Bend in the right leg, shift over onto the right, extending the left. So still low, well done. Right hand down onto the thigh, lifting your left arm up and over. First of all, find the reach, then breathe into those left ribs. Feel them having a big old stretch away from the pelvis, away around that armpit area. And on your second breath, lifting the hand back onto your leg so you've stayed loose. Well done, that's it. Tuck the tailbone slightly under. Gorgeous, arms towards the front. And just lifting the left heel and lower. And the right heel and low. Let's just now mobilize right onto those toes and down and lift. Doubles if you feel able. And we've just worked already on our double heel raise in our little tiny first position. Let's see if we can get them to work here. A little bit more work for the calf muscles, a little bit more work with the tummy still and the pelvic floor, perhaps drawing underneath you. Last 2. Last 1. You got the jelly wobbles. Just release the heels down, place the hands onto your thighs and draw yourself back up into your standing position. Bring your legs slightly closer. A little bit closer. Okay, I mentioned they were a bit beyond your natural stance a moment ago. Now you're looking at probably roughly mat width apart. So this is kind of comfy for us, to be honest. And we're going to take ourselves into a squat. So I want you to bring your hands towards the front of you. They're just going to be hip width apart to remind ourselves to keep these shoulders square to the front of the mat. Breathing in. Now this time you're going to push your bottom right to the back of the mat. Okay, so you're really going to think about those knees kind of tracking out over those feet. Okay, so you're not pushing the knees out too wide, and then bring yourself back up and really squeeze the buttock underneath you. Okay, down we go, sitting into that narrow squat and then back up. Beg your pardon, wider squat. Okay, I like to call this a broad squat. I wrote on my notes to myself, this is a broad squat. And then draw yourself back up. Next time you come down, just pause and hold here. And just go ahead and see if you can find the areas around your back passage and just draw in those muscles. Okay, so this is around the glutes and bringing in the bottom cheek area. As we come up, keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. That's the guy I want you to try and isolate next time you go down. As you come back up, you're almost like pulling in around that little back passage area. All right, so down we go into our squat, tummies in. Pulling in, narrowing those hips, pulling in around the back passage area and draw yourself back up into standing. Let's do 4 more. So just down, speeding this up slightly and squeeze as you come up and down. Start the squeeze or as you come back up, almost like your starter button, and then squeeze back up. And last one down and squeeze back up. Gorgeous, well done. So now we're going to walk those legs all the way back in for our final piece. Back into our start position with the heels together, and hands now come behind the back of your head, just gently resting. Okay, shoulder blades back and down. We're going to have to work a little bit harder to keep that belly in and as we're going into an arch back. Okay, so keeping the shoulders down, belly in will help. All righty, so we're going to just let the knees now broaden towards the side of you, just gently. Okay, so they soften slightly, but the heels stay down. Okay, now we're going to attempt to go 5 levels down, continuing here with this journey, knees broadening, but the heels try and stay together. They may lift, but they're going to try and stay together. Okay, so let's try level 2. Down a smidgen with those knees a bit more. Well done. Down a little bit more. My heels have started to elevate slightly off the mat. Maybe yours have too. Down a little bit more. I'm trying to keep those heels together. Then it gets a bit more tricky. Down for our lowest layer. And then we come up for 5. So that's 5 levels. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Zip the legs together. Okay, let's do that a bit more seamlessly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go. Down, that's 5. That's 4. That's 3. That's 2. Heels together if we can. Perfect. Well done. And up. Use the belly. Control the balance. And 1 and 2. Down for 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. Last 1. And for 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Superb. Well done. Arms releasing down by your sides. Good. Okay. So we're going to stand, we're going to have ourselves into a high kneel, so parallel with the feet, kneeling now on the mat. You may want to take yourself slightly towards one side, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead towards the right side, just shift you slightly towards the right. Extending your left leg out towards the left end of the mat. Your toes can be towards the corner, don't necessarily force them too much towards the front if they don't feel comfortable. Now then, hands down by your sides. And let's just go ahead and reach the left hand down this left leg towards that knee joint and just stretch over on that side, taking ourselves down towards the right, and the right hand just slides down towards the floor, and then bring yourself back to center. One more time to the left kneecap, knee joint, and back to center. And this time pausing with the hand down towards the floor on the right, pausing here. Shoulder blades come down, really find that tummy. And we're going to now just elevate your left hand slightly. So you've just got a lengthened left hand arm reaching towards the left side of your mat. Just shoulder height for the moment. Now we're going to sweep this hand forwards and bring it towards your temple or the side of your head if you've got that range to the shoulder. Not to the point where you've rotated the upper body though. So you're going to just draw that hand by your sides and parallel to your legs, hips and shoulders. Breathing in. So just forwards and backwards. So it's like our our sweep when we do our leg sweep with the arm, and just come back the way you've come. So reversing forwards towards me and back to the side of your leg. Well done. Just forwards towards the temple where we pause. And then from the temple, come forwards to me and back to the arm. That's it. Well done. We've got 2 more. Breathing in, keeping shoulder height for me. So it's shoulder height, sweep, and shoulder height back. Come to me, sweep forwards, forwards, forwards. That's it, gorgeous, well done, and pause there. Okay, we're going to now take our right hand and take it all the way down towards the mat. Okay, now you might need to just adjust where you are, or just making sure you're feeling comfortable. If you want to just modify where your feet, knee and hands are for your size of body, go ahead. Your toes should be or can be tucked under at the back there, and just a slight push forward with that hip. Tendency is we feel we can't quite reach, so the bum sticks out. So try and feel like you are pulling forwards with that hip, and shoulder blades are back. Yeah, pushing down into the mat with the hand. Well done. Okay, gorgeous. Now we're going to just take our top arm and reach it up towards the ceiling. Well done. And then just gently lower that hand towards the temple, so we straightened up our shoulders. Gorgeous. Lifting your heel towards the ceiling now for me, just the heel, so the toes are still down. And we're going to now lift towards about maybe halfway up towards the bottom height, not too high. All righty, let's bring that leg forwards and then sweep the leg behind. Keeping your hand, if you can, with your elbow lifting towards the ceiling, just because it's going to keep those shoulders stacked. And forward with the leg and sweep behind. This is our side kick series, as we're doing often in our side lying position. So modifying slightly. And it's the high kneel side kick, which again is one of Pilates 34. So let's just use this to remind ourselves of the movement we know in a slightly harder position. Forwards and sweep backwards. Last time, forwards and sweep backwards. Well done, gorgeous. Placing that leg back down, we're now going to modify one more time by going even lower towards the floor and on our forearm. Now, You will just need to modify slightly, probably with your legs, so that your thighs are in alignment with the rest of your body. Okay, so taking your bottom down onto the mat, that's it, and you're in your forearm position. Your lower leg is bent to 90 and the top leg is out straight. So we've just slowly got lower and lower and lower. Okay, now we're going to attempt to just keep our little toes, perhaps not even the heel, but maybe the toes, you can press them into the mat slightly, okay? So if you can't necessarily flatten the whole of the side of the foot, just lift the heel so you've got the toes slightly pinned onto the mat, shoulder blades back and down. Okay, we're going to take our arm by our side to begin with, no arm involved here. And we're simply going to think about lifting our top hip towards the ceiling and releasing the bottom back down. Now, if this is too much, okay, you're more than welcome to go back to a previous level we've done before, where your both legs are up and tucked in, and you're just lifting your leg like so, okay? Or you can modify by having your head down and supported. Perhaps that's another way of taking some of the pressure off the shoulder. Okay, so loads of options there. All righty, so modify. If you'd rather do none of this whatsoever, no hip lifting, go ahead and work on your crabs. We've done before, maybe that sounds wrong, but go ahead, work on the crab exercise, just lifting the top leg and lowering, okay? Lots of options, because I know some shoulders do not like this. And then we're going to add in, if we can, our top arm is going to add in and head over into arc. So again, we're working that side of the body, and we come down, touching onto the floor with a breath in. Exhale, floating towards the ceiling. If you want everything working, then you don't touch that bottom down in between. You keep just hovering, just having a tiny hover, and then you come back up. Now, for everyone, no matter where you are, bum lifted, or if you would rather have your bottom down, I would like you to then leave your arm in arc and over towards the side of the room. Okay, so you can be in any position, knees bent, bum up, bum down. Our gaze is going to come down towards our right hand now, and we're going to roll our shoulders forward, so we look towards our right hand and then back up, and then we let everything come down to the floor, or just the arm to your side if your bottom is lifted. Okay, arm down by the side, bottom down. Well done. Let's add those together. Breathing in, either a bottom lift or clam, or up over into arc. Pausing here, rib rotation down towards your mat, looking towards your wrist or hand, lift up towards me, and down, hand towards your side, bottom down if it's down, working. Up we go, final time into arc, rib rotation forwards, feel through that waist line as you peel back up facing me, and then release that down. Gorgeous, well done. Okay, so we're going to head on to Sphinx now. So both arms are going to come towards the front or the short edge of the mat, elbows underneath our shoulders. Now, we worked on this last week with our towel, so I'm going to see how we get on here. We're going to think about last week, we were looking at lifting the lower part of our pelvis off the towel. Okay, so we're going to do something fairly similar with that now. Knees are going to stay down. If you want to tuck your toes under, you're more than welcome if you feel more secure. Growing nice and long through the spine, breathing in, exhale, as you gently lift your pelvis off the mat. So you're levitating the sort of the torso and the pelvis and the top of the thighs, and you're resting really on the base of the thighs, kind of just above that kneecap area. Okay, all righty. In fact, let's all go ahead and tuck our toes under if you can. Tucking the toes under. This is our level one. Okay, if you want to just continue with the lowering and the lifting, you're more than welcome just doing that. If you can hold the lift, we're going to now lift your right kneecap into sort of a plank leg, if you like, or a straight leg on the right, pressing onto the toes, let the knee come down, and then lift your left kneecap. Now, this might be enough for you to do 4 or 5 or 6 more here. If you feel like you want to be a bit more diesel this week, we are week 5, you can then actually add in, leaving the knees down. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves up into straight arms, and then back down into Sphinx. Up into straight arms, and down into Sphinx. If you can change your lead arm from left to right as you come up, that's even better. And if that's just a bridge too far, just heading up and down from low to high plank, supported with the knees on the floor. For those who wish to come down onto your fronts and your bellies, you're more than welcome now, if you've done too much, to release down onto your bellies. And then pause here, placing your hands by your shoulders, neck is down and long toes are under. We're going to push into child's pose. If you struggle to lever over, as I'm showing you now, just tuck those, pull those knees into your chest space and roll back with your bottom towards your heels. Have a pause here, actively stretching by pressing the heels of the hands into the mat. It's that sense of almost like you're trying to stretch the mat space between your heels of your hands and your knees, like you're kneading dough. Breathing in. As I say, not long time to just hang out here. So we're going to just peel ourselves back up, and we'll find ourselves probably towards the left side of the mat, and we can extend our right leg in readiness for our leg work this side. Okay, so facing forward again, the foot doesn't need to be too much at a right angle. It can be at that corner of the mat. Yeah, square yourself up to the front, hands down by your sides. And let's just do a couple of lovely lateral flexions. So reaching your right hand down towards that right kneecap. And then back up. Let's go ahead towards the left side, breathing in and exhale. Fingers sliding down towards the left. Great stuff. Back up. And as you feel on this side, breathing in and down we go. Gorgeous. And this time we're going to pause with the left fingertip sliding down the side seam of the trousers on the left. And here we need to find our hold. So go ahead and dig into that coil, dig into the pelvic floor area. Right arm is going to lift just below shoulder height and reach. Okay, so we're trying to find some space here at this shoulder joint. Alrighty, imagining you're kind of staying at this height. First of all, sweep the arm towards your temple, towards me, towards the front of the room, the front of the mat. There we are, breathing in. We then reverse that move, just reverse exactly where you've come from, and the hand rests by the side of your thigh. That's it, breathing in. Exhale as you take that lever over. We have a little bit more of a challenge because we've extended that center, that length, that weight away from your center. We've got 4 more, and reach, and down, and 3, and down, and 2, and last one, and reach. Great stuff. And pause with the arm back by your side. So now the left arm is going to come down towards the floor. Again, we're just trying to think about modifications if need be. If you feel like you want to tuck your toe under, just try and think of lengthening through the whole of the arm as much as you can, pressing through the hand into the mat and pushing your lower hip slightly forward, that pelvis slightly tilting and pushing forward towards me. Okay, top arm for the moment is just by your side. Lifting your heels so your toes are still on the floor. Loads of space in this lovely neck, all right, guys, and then lifting that leg and lowering, and then going into our sides, drawing your leg towards me, and then send your leg towards the back of the room and forwards towards me, and send the leg to the back of the room, stretch over the front of those hips and forwards and back. Of course, we're trying to keep this torso as still as we can as we find our range of movement all the way forwards, all the way back. One more time, all the way forwards and all the way back. Coming to center, placing that leg back down. We're now going to lower onto this forearm. So again, you might need to shuffle that knee slightly away from your hand as you head down onto your forearm. Okay, reset in your mind's eye like your side lying. So knees are stacked one on top of the other. The thighs are just in parallel to this front edge of the mat. And the lower foot is bent up towards your knee. Okay, that's bent up towards your bottom. Top foot, again, you can just gently place those toes slightly down as if they're squishing into the mat to give you a little bit of imprint, a little bit of resistance and pressure there. Okay, so again, we're taking our hands towards the ceiling. And first of all, lifting towards the ceiling, let's just go ahead and square up these shoulders now. Just release the hand behind the back of the head. Okay, well done. All righty, so we're going to be just lifting our hips if we can, breathing in, making space in this lower area of the shoulder in the ear, lifting your hips and lowering. Okay, so guys, this is our full piece. If you feel like you want to modify, as said last time, do go ahead and just bring your knees, both of them in towards your chest, and you can then use both knees to lift and both little shins are supporting you. If you're really struggling with this lift, of course, go ahead and you can work on the crab or the clam. That's what I was getting wrong. It wasn't even a crab. I thought it was a clam we should be working on. By lifting and lowering, I've got my wrong little animal, and lift and lower. Well done. Pausing down this next time, hand comes by your side. We're going to lift and add in the arm into arc. Breathing in, exhale. So your arm can join in, even if you've got your knees up, even if you're doing your clam, you can still use that arm to get the lift of the rib cage towards the ceiling, that sense of pressing the ribs underneath you, the hips underneath you, everything's pressing towards the ceiling and down. Last 2. And whichever level you're at, please go ahead and leave the arm over your head. Now we're going to rotate, look down towards that left hand or wrist. And then bring your rib cage facing me again towards the front of the mat and lower everything down, including your arm or just your arm if it's not legs. Breathing in, exhale as we lift. Pause and hold, lifting really high. Rotation with the ribs towards the front and then back stacked towards me and down. We've got 2 more. As I say, arm only if you wish, as I'm showing you now. Then you can rotate through the rib cage, still lifting that rib cage high and down, or in Deepened Clam, lifting up and rotation. Well done. And releasing back down. Gorgeous, well done. Okay, so from here we're going to go into our quad stretch. We did our Sphinx work previously. This time we're going to enjoy a stretch. So onto your tummies. Okay, so guys, quad stretching is not everyone's cup of tea. It's quite a deep stretch. What I'm going to ask you to do is pop your head down, or wherever you really want to pop your head. We're going to see if we can go ahead and reach your left hand back to grab hold of your left foot. Now that might be for some people your left heel. It might even be your left trouser leg, okay, you can grab hold of to try and stretch this leg. If this is just not for you, you can also modify those slide onto your side, and that sometimes gives you a little bit more support and balance and movement when you've got room in front of your pelvis as opposed to when you're on the floor. If you're hanging out there with your leg held on the mat, please go ahead and tilt your pelvis so you're almost tipping the pelvis and pushing it in towards the mat. And if you can do one more thing, then maybe you can press your foot into your hand itself, as if you're pressing that hand away from your bottom direction, and that will create more resistance for you and a deeper stretch. Okay, we're going to change. So if you do need to roll over, if you're side lying, roll over now. Otherwise, you're switching right hand to right foot. Again, first of all, just make sure you're feeling nicely aligned. If that knee has had to travel right out to the side of you for you to grab hold of it, try and see if you can bring that knee a little bit more into alignment with your body. Yeah. Okay, again, tilting the pelvis ever so slightly, so almost like you're trying to push your pubic bone slightly in towards the mat, and then gently pushing your foot into your hand. Anything that feels too deep or too much, just modify by loosening off that slightly. Okay, not so much maybe intense with the push or the tilt of the pelvis. And we're going to breathe and hold this for just 2 more seconds. Well done. Gorgeous. And release the leg back down. So everyone's going to come into sitting now. So we're just going to gently roll ourselves over or peel yourself up and into sitting. Okay, legs are towards the end of the mat. Hands are behind us, actually, quite a good way behind us. To be honest, quite a nice, comfortable position for the hands. I'm going to get everyone to pop their fingers to the side, as if they're pointing towards the side, long edges of your mats. Okay, guys. This is going to probably be the best next way for us to introduce the next level of our reverse plank work. We've been doing a lot of work with our bottom lifts. Alrighty, and I want us to now to experiment with our legs straight. Arms, as I say, are facing to the wrist towards the side. It's the easiest for our position for our wrists to be. Shoulder blades back and down, and try and find that lift from the pelvis all the way to the crown of the head, through the upper body, chest, nice and open. Okay, gluing your legs together if you can, even to the point where maybe your big toes, imagine you've got a little string tying those big toes together. Okay, and we're going to breathe in and exhale and just gently lift our bottom off the mat. And that's maybe as far as you'll get and back down. It may be that that's even too far in itself. If you find immediately that lifting of the bottom off the mat is just too big a move, please place your feet on the floor, and you can just modify with the bent knees, lifting your bottom as so, okay? But we are trying to work a little bit more into our progressions. So you're just trying to lift with the straight legs, rolling onto the heels, shoulder blades must stay back and down, neck nice and long. The gaze lifts slightly as you come up into your reverse plank. And we've got 2 more. And the belly stays in, securing your spine. And last one. Bottoms come down. If everyone can have their legs straight, that would be really super. So bring yourselves into a sit. Your arms are still trailing behind you. I'd like to bring your right arm up and over like you're doing a single swimming stroke forwards towards your left shin, and place it on the left shin just below the knee, or the knee if that's where you get to. Now the left arm is going to lift up behind you and reach towards your right shin. Well done. Okay, I'm going to let you now release your right hand out towards the back corner of your mat and just slightly gaze towards the side of you, towards that side. And then lift the arm up and over like a swimming stroke and place it back on the left side. Your left hand now reaches towards the left corner of the mat behind you. A gentle touch down with that left fingertip and look over to the left side. Perhaps a little tiny press into your right hand on the leg. Okay, let the arms swim up behind you, sweep up and over a big circle, and it comes to rest on your left shin or knee. Well done. Okay, pausing here, we're going to place those hands behind us one more time. That was just a distraction technique for our second set. Okay, these arms do tie very quickly in reverse plank, so I'm going to have another go. Again, modify if you need to with those feet down, if you know last time it wasn't your cup of tea at all. But everyone can find the lift from the pelvis. We can all do this. Lengthen the spine, chest open, shoulder blades back and down. Breathing in. Let's go ahead now, lifting the buttocks towards the ceiling and down, floating gently to the mat. Breathe in. Bend legs or straight, either which way you are lifting, and shoulder blades stay back and down. We try not to hunch down into this neck space. Okay, lift and lower. Big exhale as you lift if you can for 2 more. And one more time, breathing in, exhale. And lower. Bring your arms, your body up into sitting. Double arms now sweeping behind you like a butterfly as they sweep up behind you. They now just come crossing over towards your ankles as if you're just finishing your glorious Swan Lake performance, and your head just settles chin into chest, stretching your lower back, and just hang out here for a moment, breathing in and exhale. And one more breath in. Well done. And exhale. Well done. Place your hands down by your sides. You might need to find the middle of your mat because we're lying down. So roll down onto the floor and head is just resting, chin slightly into that throat space. So you immediately feel the neck is nice and long. Heels are tucked up towards your bottom. Hands are down by your sides, and I'd like you to press a little bit into these arms. Roll the shoulder blades back and down. They just had a nice opener. So let's go and put those shoulders back into the mats. Well done. Now we're going to go straight into a bridge lift, hinging, not by peeling. Okay, so what I want you to do is just take your bottom, lift it off the mat, and press your hip bones towards the ceiling. Okay, once you've got here, just go ahead and fire up those inner core muscles, pelvic floor area muscles, and just press the knees ever so slightly towards the far end of your mat, that short end of the mat. So the neck is nice and long and the spine is lengthened. Now just let the bottom just come down, touch onto the floor, breathe in, exhale, do the same again. Find that end position, nice and lifted, elevated, stretch into the hip flexors. They've had a stretch already, so let's go and capitalize on that openness by lifting and pressing towards the ceiling with the hips and squeezing the buttocks. Down we go with the breath in and exhale. We've got 4 more, and down, and 3. So knees should be hip width apart, guys. You should be pressing into the back of these upper arms. And this is our last one. We're going to pause up high. And I now want you to just tap your knees, the inside of your knee joints together in a little tapping, clapping, pulsing move. So it's just a touch, 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 touch. Okay, if it's coming into your back, press more into the arms, think more about the pelvic floors, maybe a little bit more into the belly, maybe lengthen the spine, neck nice and long for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the legs at hip distance and then lower everything down onto the mat. Well done. Bring your knees into your chest for a second reprieve, small circles if you wish. Okay, go ahead and pop those feet back down, hands come back onto the floor. We are going to now add on. If you don't want to add on, it's coming into your back, or you're feeling like this is just not for you, you can do one of 2 things. You can do one more set of just lifting the buttocks, or you can just thoroughly enjoy some peeling up and peeling down if that's something that your spine really likes. Okay, otherwise we're going to hinge up into bridge and find that lifted top position, bellies in tight, floors are strong. A press please into your left foot, lift your right leg, and now I want you to cross that right ankle over your left thigh. Okay, so a bit like the figure of 4 stretch. Well done. Keeping the hips fairly stable, we're now going to kiss down with the bottom to the floor and lift back up to the ceiling. Okay, down we go to the floor and lift to the ceiling. Again, don't forget you can modify, both feet can go back down if you're struggling. Really focusing and targeting on that left buttock, I hope, for you at home. Okay, and lift and lower, last two, and lift and lower, last one, and lower. Release the foot back down onto the floor. Okay, we're going to go ahead with momentum. We're going straight onto the other side. So let's breathe in, exhale, and lift. And now you're going to press into your right sole of the foot, and your left foot then crosses onto the right thigh, just above the knee joint. From here, we're going to just lower the bottom towards the floor with a breath in, and exhale, press up. See how this glute feels. Great identifier for glute weakness. If you feel one side is really super easy and the other really isn't. And maybe it's not the glute. Maybe you're struggling with perhaps keeping the pelvis stable. But guess what? It's a weak glute that will make that stabilization a little bit difficult to achieve. So for me, I'm a lot stronger on this side. My left glute, not so happy. Very common, because of course, right-handed people tend to step forwards with the right leg. And that's not everybody, of course. And we're going to take it more, 3 more times. Anytime you want to put both feet down, of course, go ahead. Last 2. And last one. Gorgeous, well done. And pause down there. Well done. Placing both feet onto the mat. And now everyone bring your knees into your chest. Grab hold of wherever you want to, around the shins, all around your thighs, and just roll from side to side or small circles. Okay. Alrighty, just pausing here. I'd like you to bring your right knee into your chest, extend your left leg along the floor. Okay, so you're holding behind that right shin. The left leg is just resting on the floor. Go ahead and bring your head, neck, and shoulders and your knee up towards that right kneecap, and just stretch the two guides really nicely away from each other. Right knee towards your nose and your left foot reaching away towards the end of the mat. Well done. Okay, well done. And we're going to switch sides. So your left knee comes in towards you. Just going to pause here for a moment, just hang out here and see how this side feels. Okay, your right leg can be on the floor to begin with as you just bring your left knee in. Okay, reaching the two away from each other, right foot nice and long away from that left knee. Okay, bring your right knee into your center one more time. Left leg is still on the floor. And I want you to see if you can go ahead and lift your right leg towards the ceiling, so your readiness for your scissors. Okay, so you're stretching behind the hamstring. We're going to breathe in, and first of all, we're just going to straight leg switch. So just going to pause here for a moment, so you get your left leg just a moment to just recognize what it's going to be doing in a moment. Okay, keeping that belly in, looking towards your kneecap. Breathe in, let's go and switch. Now I'm going to speed this up. Breathe in, exhale, and switch. And switch, and switch, and switch. If you want to add in the double pulse, guys, of course, you're more than welcome to just gently draw the knee towards your nose for 2 pulses. Okay, again, if you're feeling this is just not for you, you're more than welcome to modify, placing one foot down the floor, and you just switch by lifting one leg whilst one leg is resting on the floor, and the head can be down as well if you wish. Last set of 2 and 1. And then holding behind the back of the knees, or if your feet are down, just hold behind your legs and come back down onto the floor with your head, neck, and shoulders, and pause there. Feet are on the floor as well. Okay, I want us all to shuffle a little bit towards that furthest end of the mat away from your head. Okay, so your feet are a little bit closer. And bring your knees into your chest, hooking your hands and fingertips over your kneecaps in the direction of your toes, and bring those knees in. Okay. And just have a little feel about how much sort of rockiness or bendiness or lift you've got in the lower spine by actually gently using your arms to pull those knees in towards you. Okay, so just a little bit of a hamstring stretch there with our scissor work. We did this 2 weeks ago. We did this last week as well with our towel. So we've been doing some progression work for trying to work on lifting the lower buttocks off the mat. Okay, we've done it with double leg circle, and we did it with towel. So just draw the knees into your chest and see if you can lift your tailbone slightly off the mat. Okay, so you're just gently feeling that tailbone lift, and maybe a little bit more press of the lumbar spine into the floor, and then release that down. Just 2 more. Breathing in, exhale, lift. Big exhale as you lift, and release. And one more time, breathing in, exhale, lift, and release. Okay, guys, we're going to now see if you can put your hands out by your sides and just do the same piece, lifting the knees towards your ceiling, towards your nose with a lovely breath out. So breathe in, exhale, breathe out, just pull your knees into your nose and feel a bit of a press into those arms. As you press into the arms, you may well feel there's a bit of tension across the bit of the chest. That is fine, but still keep thinking my neck is long. Okay, so you're not going to lift the knees so much so that you're dumping into the crown or the back of your head. Neck is long, press into the arms and the heels of the hands, and then release the feet back down onto the floor. Okay, you've got 3 levels available to you there, guys. Okay, one is pulling in with your knees, one is perhaps trying, or well, the other is trying without. So this is our 3rd level now coming up. So folks, we are going to experiment with our overhead work. It is not a big piece. We're not going to do anything add-on today, but we're going to see if this is something that is available to you. We don't know unless we try. So your knees are in towards your chest. Go ahead and bring them in, please. Hands down by your sides. We're going to bring our knees in towards our nose. If you can, we are going to see if when our bottom is elevated, we can then switch our hands to be gently resting under our lower back and probably tuck them slightly in and under the pelvis. Okay. This may or may not be immediately something you know, I just can't do that. That is just not available to me. But if you can have a go as you lift your knees towards your chest, then dig into your elbows and pop your hands on your lower spine. Placing your hands, you roll back down. Okay, just seeing what is available to you, what your spine feels like it can or can't do. We're nicely just taking it easy. We've had lots of warming up. We're going to just try one more. If this is just not for you, go ahead to one of the other levels, as I mentioned before, with just lifting your legs, lifting your knees, or using your hands to pull your knees to your nose to get the spine mobile. Last time, breathing in, exhale. And everybody releasing the feet back down onto the floor, lengthening the legs towards the end of the mat. Go ahead and enjoy a full mat stretch. All the way from fingers to toes. Well done, well done, well done. Okay. Just bend your right foot for me, please. So your right foot is now just parked by the side of your left kneecap. Bring your hands down by your sides. Okay, so we're going to just make the hands slightly wider to the edge of your mat and let your right knee roll over towards the left and head towards the floor. If you wish to grab hold of that right thigh with your left hand, go ahead. Okay, if that's not available to you, you can just hang out here with that left knee just tracking over towards, pushing over towards the left slightly. You won't be here too long, and then you bring yourself back to center, lengthening both legs towards the end of the mat. Take your left leg, bend it in towards the inside edge of your right knee joint, and now that left knee rolls over towards the right. Okay, and that might be enough for you, or as I said before, reaching towards that left leg with your right hand. Go ahead and hold on. Okay, for a stretch in the base of the spine. Okay. And then bring yourself back to center. Great stuff. We're going to roll over onto our tummies now. So seamlessly rolling over onto our elbows. And we're holding both our hands just, if you've meandered off your mat, take time to find yourself back on there. Okay, so you're just going to be holding your hands just in front of you. Elbows under our shoulders, perhaps slightly wider if it's a comfortable position for you. Oops, hang on, there we go. Our elbows slightly wider. But what I want you to do is, again, think of the work we've been doing the last few weeks when we've managed to get that lovely length of the spine from the base of your spine there by almost digging the elbows into the mat and almost pulling yourself, projecting yourself forwards along the mat. And then once you've got that pull forwards, we can start to lift the chest, head, neck, and shoulders lifting, showing the heart space, shining it forwards between those shoulders. Yeah, so your collarbone, the clavicle is nice and open. Okay, legs, guys. Okay, so once you've got in this position, belly, sorry, I should say, as I work down the body, belly slightly in for me, so you're not dumped down into that lower spine. Let's go ahead and support that spine with a belly in, and also a slight shoulder blade roll back and down. Yes, so you've got all those things going on. Now we're going to see if you can just lift and elevate your right leg off the floor so that you point your toe and you feel like you're kind of just resting on the top of that thigh area. Place it back down. Breathe in, exhale, lift your left leg. Okay, so you're not going to get very high. This is not to do with glutes. This is not to do with a glute lift as such. Yes, I just want you to see if you can just lift the leg so you're resting on that bulked up thigh. As soon as you point the toes, the thighs, sorry, as soon as you straighten the legs, sorry, and point the toes, the thighs bulk up. And I just want you to hover on that thigh muscle and down and switch from left to right. As you're doing that, think about that sense of still lifting and lengthening. So you've got your leg lifting and lengthening towards the end of the mat and your upper body growing nice and long, creating as much of a flow through the body from toes to crown as possible. If you can think, or you do think you're going to be able to lift both, go ahead and lift them both. And I say this is not about a buttock piece. This is not looking to lift like we do our work with our lift and resistance. I'm just asking you to lift and lengthen the whole body only. Breathe in and just pause this next time with these legs lifted. Now we're going to do our work. The legs are lifted. You're almost like you're perched on the front of your pelvis. Bring your right heel into your bottom and pulse it 2 times. As it comes back out, it stays lifted and long and pointed. Breathe in and your left heel comes in and pulses for 2 and out. Staying long and lifted all the time in between. Don't let them come back down. Breathe in, exhale, pulse, pulse. Pointed foot the whole time this time for me. There's too much else going on. Breathe in, exhale and pulse, pulse. Legs stay lifted. Pulse, pulse. Might work a little bit more into those hamstrings, so be careful. If you're feeling too much and too intense, you can let the legs come down. Not so much of a tyrant. And lift, pulse, pulse, and down. And lift, pulse, pulse, and release. Okay. Head, neck, and shoulders coming down onto the mat. Forehead on the mat. As you sweep your hands around the base of your spine, make sure the neck is long. Legs are still together, but the elbows now can relax and slump towards the floor. They probably quite like this as a bit of a rest position, actually. Now I'd like you to turn, everybody to turn onto their right cheek. So they're looking out towards that left side of you, okay? Doesn't matter if you can't see me, that is fine. You're on your right cheek. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your elbows are down towards the floor. They're just kind of sinking and hanging out there. And we're going to think about our legs one more time, all righty? Let's go ahead and zip them together. Okay. And I'd like you to now just slide those hands slightly up towards as high as they can go, perhaps the lower rib cage area or bra strap. Okay, let's go ahead and lift those legs just as you did a moment ago. They're glued together, but lift, excuse me, lift both legs. Okay, so it's a little bit more tricky. If they do need to separate, that is fine, okay? But just keep yourself really pinned down with your upper body. Well done. Now we're going to down bring both heels in towards your bottom for 3 pulses. So it's a 1, a 2, a 3. As you send your legs away towards the end of the mat, still hovering, you then lift your gaze, or your head, I should say, look down towards the mat, right in front of your eyes, and stretch your hands down towards your buttocks. So you've got, again, a really lengthened body, nice and long. As you then take your hands back up to your bra strap area or lower rib cage, turn to look towards your right, and your cheek comes down on the mat, and your legs lower slightly, not so that they're floppy and relaxed, but just slowly lowering them down and hover. Let's do that again. Bring your hands right up towards your bra strap if it's not there already, and then bring the heels to your bum. 1, 2, 3. Send the legs away, hands down, lift your head, neck and shoulders, roll back those shoulders and open the chest. Let's go a little bit quicker. We look to the left, long legs, elbows down, and 1, 2, 3, then lift. Come down, look to the right, and then 1, 2, 3 to the heels and lift. Long, long, long. As you come back down, legs stay long and just hovering. 1, 2, 3 to the bum, and then lift. Head, neck, and shoulders. Shoulders rolled back, lifting the legs high. Down, arms come up, elbows down, and then 1, 2, 3, and lift. One more either side. Have I said that already? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, and lift. Lift, lift, lift. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. This is our back exercise work. And lift. Double leg kick, roll the shoulders back and down, and then finally resting everything down onto the mat. Gorgeous, well done. Take your hands by your shoulders, touch your toes under, readiness for child's pose, however you wish, to lever or roll to your side and push back into child's pose. Again, active child's pose, okay, so try not to just hang out here, pressing to the heels of the hands, push your bottoms towards your heels. If you need to push, put that cushion under there if that's comfy for you. You know it's available, you know what to do, what supports you need. I hope at this point, gently easing your bottom towards your heels. Gorgeous. And then walk your hands back towards those knees. Well done. And swing your legs to the side facing front. Okay, so our legs are tucked up towards the side. Let's go to the left, if you don't mind. Sorry, the legs towards the left. It might just help us in a moment. Right hand just down towards the end of the mat, and find your left hand now lifting your shoulders so they're a little bit more in alignment as opposed to in horizontal to the floor. Let's go ahead and see if we can lift them and stack them slightly. Now, of course, what tends to happen there is this lower ear just sinks down towards the shoulder. So find the space, press into the hand and find the space. And find the space with the ribs as well. Lift the ribs towards the ceiling. Now we're going to breathe into this space over on the left side of the body. Let's breathe in. Breathe into that left rib cage and armpit area. Just 2 deep breaths. Try to imagine it's the elbow pulling you to the ceiling, okay? If you imagine that sense of the elbow lifting as high as you can, okay, that's a kind of direction of travel. Release that arm over and then just gently holding on, tucking onto the left-hand side of those legs. Bring your right arm up and over and just pause here. Just pause, pause, pause. Okay, placing the hand back down. Let's do that one more time. Left arm lifts behind the back of the temple. Stack up the shoulders, pressing into the right hand. Almost to the point where you almost feel like you're lifting slightly off your hips and buttocks. Okay, breathe into the left side of the body. Left arm comes up and over, and right arm sweeps like an arc over, over, over. Righty. Now that right arm comes down towards the floor. Left arm's going to come with it. So circle, windmill that arm over the top on the left, out towards the short end of the mat. So both fingertips or both hands are facing towards the short edge of the mat. Okay, well done. Just gently press the shoulder blades back and down. So you've got a bit of an avoidance of this sort of slump and half bent elbows. Okay, so find that chest just slightly trying to push through, but not into back extension. Okay, so guys, let's think about this top back leg. Okay, this guy that's on the top at the moment. I just want to see if you can lift that top knee just slightly off the floor and place it back down. So the toes stay down, the foot slightly on the mat. Just lift that that right leg up towards the ceiling and back down. Breathing in, exhale, lift, and lower, and lift. Okay, so this is our first level. If you're really struggling with this, perhaps you want to maybe send that leg slightly further away. Okay, you can push that foot slightly further towards the other end of the mat. If you want to go up a level, guys, we can lift the whole of that top leg. So it kind of lifts in parallel to the lower leg on the mat and then back down. Breathing in, almost like you're opening a book as the knee and the foot lifts at the same distance, just lifting and lowering, really targeting again around those glutes, lifting and lowering, or modify as I showed you before. Well done. Last one. Okay, pausing here. Now I'd like you to extend that lovely top leg towards the back edge of the mat. Okay, so you've got your leg out towards the back edge of the mat as far as you can, and we're going to see if you can single leg lift here. So breathing in, small lift and lower. Now this is a tiny little hop. It might be a little bit too much. If it is, just draw that back leg in and do one more set with the knee slightly bent. Okay, that's a big piece. I need one more, and bring that knee all the way back in so it's tucked up behind you. Guys, just while we're here, press into your hands, push your shoulder blades apart and look down towards your left side or left hip or left belly button area, and just kind of enjoy a little bit of a mini cat stretch there across the back of the shoulder blades. Now I want you to let your gaze come forwards. Don't bend the elbows if you can avoid it, and bring your heart space slightly through the arms and look towards the ceiling, or sorry, towards the side of the room in the direction of the ceiling. One more time, gently looking down towards your left hip, spreading the shoulder blades, and then forwards towards the front edge of the mat and the side of your room, and then bring yourself back into neutral. Right arm now lifts up and over, reaching towards your left legs, grab hold. Okay, so we're going to switch to the other side. So just taking the legs around, sweeping them underneath you to the other side. We have our hand on the left, reaching out. Alrighty. Okay, and the left arm, first of all, let's find that lift. So you try and think about stacking the shoulders, pressing them as much as they can, as if they were going to be one on top of the other, elbow lifting towards the ceiling. Let's just take a lovely breath into this right side of the body here. So breathe in. Into those right ribs. Okay, feel the shoulder blades moving. Feel the lift perhaps of the rib cage. Lift maybe slightly the hips as you breathe into this right side of the body. As you exhale, whenever you're ready, the next time, let the hand come down to your right legs that are stacked, and lift the left arm over and sweep over towards the right. Okay, maybe feels a bit more clunky on this side, depends on your hips. And then release that left arm down. And one more time with our arm bending, hand behind the temple. Breathe in, lift through the elbow. Okay, breathe in, exhale, and lift. And final time. And as you release this exhale, the right arm comes down, holding towards the right side, left lift over. Well done. Let the left arm come back down, and the right arm's going to follow, just windmilling over your head, and then down towards the short end of the mat, fingertips facing away along that short edge of the mat. Okay, so again, just modify slightly, lengthen the spine, shoulder blades back and down. You're kind of just looking towards that front edge of the mat at this point, guys, neither up nor down with the back. Lifting your back, top knee, and lowering. We've got a modified or deepened clam, and you're lifting and lowering. As I said before, you can take that foot slightly further away from you or even slightly forwards, just finding that comfortable position where you just lift the knee only and the foot stays down. That's it. Well done. Still looking towards the sides. We've got the rotation through the spine. Breathing in when you're down, exhaling as you lift. That's a small point, but it does help. And we're going to see if we can take it up a level by taking the whole of the back leg off so it lifts and elevates off the mat, staying in the same shape if you can, so you're not lifting one end or the other excessively, so you're not overly lifting the foot or the knee, just lifting in parallel to the floor. Again, modifying if you need to or going back a level. Last two. And final one. Okay, here comes the rub. Let's see if we can extend that leg towards the back edge of the mat. Okay, back edge, back corner, nice and long through that leg. Maybe you're enjoying that stretch to the front of the hip flexor. We're going to do a very small lift. We're talking like about 1 centimeter max, and it's a hop and down. Okay, we're going to do just 4. This takes a bit of effort. And 3. And exhale. And our last one. Good stuff. Bring that knee in one more time to your side, and we're just going to enjoy a bit of a little cat stretch, as I said before, stretching your shoulder blades, taking your gaze down towards your right hip or waist and chin into chest. Breathe in, exhale, lifting your gaze, always trying to push those collarbones and heart space through the arms, trying to not bend the arms too much, guys. Okay, breathing in, exhale, shoulder blades, mobilizing. We're going to make this thoracic spine, this thoracic area do some work. And then forwards. I think you can take whatever breathing pattern you feel is comfortable for you this morning. We're going with the flow. And on our last one, we're gently going to find our neutral position. So neither too forwards or backwards, lifting your left arm up and over, windmill back and over into your marmalade hold, mermaid hold. Gently draw yourself up into sitting. Gorgeous, well done. All righty, just taking your toes towards the end of the mat. Final thing for us is a rolling ball, just to massage the lower back for us. So we're going to grab hold of the outside of our ankles, tuck your chin into your chest, bring those knees together, and if you can find your hover. Okay, shoulder blades are back and down. Of course, if this is not available to you, you don't want to do this morning, you're more than welcome to find this position with your feet down, and all you do is just rock into your balance point and lower with control. Breathing in, exhale, rocking to lift, and then taking those feet back onto the mat. If you can take yourself a little bit further, then you can take your legs into elevation so your toe touch. Breathing in, and on the way back, we breathe in, exhale on the way forwards, and see if we can hover. Breathing in on the way back, and exhale. Always thinking you're trying to keep your forehead and nose as close to your knees the whole time as you possibly can. Probably the most important or relevant part of that is on the way back up. As you breathe in on the way back, it's kind of easy. As you exhale, the head tends to kind of sort of lag, as demonstrated there. 2 more breaths in on the way back. Exhale on the way up. Last time, rolling or foot floating. And pausing there. Everybody with their feet down. Gorgeous. Shuffling your bum away and back behind you. Reaching your toes towards, your legs towards the end of the mat, toes towards the ceiling, arms forward. Final spine stretch forward. Grow nice and tall, breathe in. We know this piece, lifting through the base of the spine. If you can, rolling over a beach ball, nose towards your knees. Just enjoy that stretch there. Guys, of course, if it's available to you and you would like to this morning, you're more than welcome to reach towards your feet or toes, looking slightly forwards, lifting your heart space and pull forwards into your forward fold. Okay, if you want to dig a bit more deeply into this, or just pause with your spine stretch, putting your belly to your spine. Peel back up one more time. Flexing the toes for our start, lift nice and tall, breathe in, just one more final time, nose to knees, diving over that belly space, and that might be your piece, so you quite enjoy perhaps that lower lumbar spine getting a stretch here, and the heels pressing away. If you'd rather get a bit more into the hamstrings, just allowing yourself to travel slightly forwards with your chest as if your thighs, your ribs are coming towards your thighs. You might be able to go ahead and reach around the base of your feet. And then gently peel yourself back up into sitting. Crossing over your legs or just tucking them to your side, we're going to push over and into a small ball position, or a crouch if you prefer to crouch and you don't really want to be in this little low down position, you can crouch here. When you're coming back up, please, whichever position you're in, tuck your chin into your chest and really check that belly is pulled in. Pelvic floors are strong as you peel back up into standing, rolling back up as if you're putting yourself back up that wall we were against in the outset, back into the center of your room and onto your mats. Heels together for me as we just engage through the inner thighs and just gently take ourselves into a double arm float, breathing in, exhale, and arms down by our sides. One more time, breathing in, hands down, snow angel, press down, grow through the crown, pausing here, turn your heels away into parallel, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time. Open your eyes and we are done. Please take any more stretches that are available to you or that you feel you would like to enjoy now. Roll around as much as you want, stretch away, and I will see you guys this week at some point. If not, I will see you on a recording at home or again soon. Take care for now. Well done. Well done.